Now let us talk about few adaptations which animals exhibit, and this will not be as diverse as seen in the plants as we discussed in the plants, because our syllabus asks us to study in detail about the plants, though the examples of animal adaptations are way too much as compared to plants. So under these categories we have those of, first one being migration, that the animals often, due to the gift of locomotion, they migrate from one place to another. As soon as the conditions are unfavorable in the given area, they would migrate to that region where the conditions would be favorable. Here we have the examples of wild beasts in African region, they migrate to the area of vegetation. Then we have the examples of fishes which go from one place to another for spawning purposes. So we have example of catadromous fishes and anadromous fishes. Catadromous fishes, example is that of sea lamprey, which comes from marine water to the fresh water for laying its eggs, while the example of anadromous fish is eel, which migrates from fresh water to the brackish water in order to lay eggs. Another example is Arctic tern, which comes from Siberian region and would be found in tropical regions of India. Many national parks, as you must have seen, Bharatpur bird reserve has abundant amount, swarms and swarms of Arctic tern coming over there, and that is a result of migration. We had the example of fishes and we have the example of wild beasts which migrate from one region of the national park in Africa to the other region in search of vegetation. The second type is that of camouflage, which we had discussed earlier, as seen in the case of the insects like praying mantis, stick insect, grasshopper. So they are in a way adapting according to the environment so that they cannot be spotted out. The third type is mimicry. This also we studied in the species interactions or interdependence, where we had talked about the various type of mimicries which a butterfly shows, viceroy butterfly and monarch butterfly, and they are trying to mimic a particular organism which is stronger. A weaker organism is trying to mimic a stronger organism in order to avoid predation. Then we have warning coloration, that is often seen in dart frogs, so that they could not be consumed by the snakes. Snake sees a dart frog, it shows warning coloration and it goes from there. Okay, so that is also an adaptation to show that it is highly poisonous. Those frogs are highly poisonous. Then we have hibernation. Supposedly the conditions are not suitable, the organism cannot migrate. So what it is going to do? It is going to go and sleep in hibernation mode. So we have two types of adaptations which are shown by the organisms. They could be lazy, they could not move from one place to another. The example is hibernation and estivation. Hibernation is winter sleep. The snakes often go to hibernation mode. These reptiles, they cannot survive in winter region, so they often go to their winter sleep. There are certain organisms like snails, they go into summer sleep because they cannot tolerate that dry conditions of the environment. Those dry conditions of the environment are hostile for them, so they go to summer sleep. So we have hibernation and estivation, and apart from this there are certain adaptations for water scarcity, water stress adaptations. Now what are those adaptations? We have the example of kangaroo rat. Example of camel. Kangaroo rat is not going to drink water in its entire life. Okay, this camel is having a long loop of Henle so that maximum water is reabsorbed and it does not have to stop at every point to drink water, because there won't be any points of drinking water in desert. So camel has a physiological adaptation by having a long loop of Henle. This kangaroo rat has again a physiological adaptation where it derives water from fat metabolism. This is to be remembered. How does kangaroo rat, which never drinks water, survives? After all, it is is a living organism, it will have certain amount of water in its cell. So how does it survive? It takes the water from fat metabolism. So you see, the plants and animals have a diverse range of adaptations that they show. So all these adaptations that we have discussed till now, they are in terrestrial condition. Our next topic would be about those animals which survive in water, and I might not to remind you, as you must be knowing by now, that maximum population and species of animals are found in water. So we have greater number of marine animals as compared to the terrestrial animals. You have studied it in detail in the previous class where we had talked about the animal kingdom, and if you can recall, we had so many kingdoms which were exclusively marine, we had these terms, okay, and most of them were aquatic. So we are going to talk about the various adaptations that animals show when they have to survive in aquatic conditions, and for that you have to watch the next lesson.